You add Maxx Crosby to this defense. You add DeMarvion Overshown to this defense. This team could absolutely make a run at winning the NFC. That's how good they would be. So let's talk about our final topic of the day, and that is the Cowboys reaching out to the Las Vegas Raiders about Maxx Crosby. Trey Wingo yesterday on X said that the Cowboys have reached out about Maxx Crosby. They made inquiries, but there are other people like Jane Slater, like Tom Pelissero, that are saying, hey, the Raiders aren't interested in trading Maxx Crosby. But here's the thing. I don't know who to believe, because there was a situation during the whole Micah Parsons and Dallas thing where people were like, no, Dallas isn't going to trade Micah Parsons. They're not doing that. It's not going to happen, right? And it's funny because yesterday, Trey Wingo then posted a GIF of somebody smiling, one of those type of things. You guys know what I'm talking about. In response to somebody saying, hey, this rumor isn't true, this, that, and the third. He's being told something. He's being told something from somebody. And when we start to lead up to the days towards the trade deadline and the Raiders probably keep on losing, there might actually be some legit movement there. I think that the Raiders will start to take calls for Maxx Crosby. And if you're the Cowboys, you absolutely jump on this, because what is it going to cost you to get Maxx Crosby? Probably a 1 for 2026 and probably a 3 for 2027. That's what I think is probably going to happen there. And maybe a guy on their team like a Marshawn Nealon or somebody like that, a young player along those lines who's showing a little bit of promise. That's what I think it's going to take. And if that's what it takes, the Cowboys need to take that. Because this offense for the Cowboys, don't get it twisted, is the best offense in football. It is. This offense is elite for the Cowboys. And Dak Prescott is playing like the best quarterback in football at the current moment. You have to take advantage of this window that you have. You add Maxx Crosby to this defense. You add DeMarvion Overshown to this defense. This team could absolutely make a run at winning the NFC. That's how good they would be. Because at that point, you add Overshown and Crosby to your defense. You improve your defensive line and you improve your linebacker room. But when you improve your defensive line and your pass rush, you want to know what that does? Improves your secondary. So you're getting improvement on all three levels of the field with just those two moves that you can make. And they're returning this rookie, Savon Revel, who a lot of people looked at as a potential first-round pick. We'll see what happens there. Man, yeah. If this defense can be at least average, the Cowboys are going to be in a situation to win the NFC. That's how good this offense is. You don't need an elite defense if you have this offense. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, the playoffs with Dak. Can't trust Dak in the playoffs. I'm going to be honest with you. When I look at Dak Prescott and I look at the fire in his eyes, that looks different. When I look at Brian Schottenheimer and the offense that he's designing and I see the fire in his eyes, that looks different. I think that this team is going to get to the playoffs if they add Maxx Crosby, and it's going to be different. I think this offense is going to play at a high level no matter who plays on the other side of the ball. That's just how confident I am in Dak Prescott. That's how confident I am in the weapons that they have on this team, the run game that they have. That's how confident I am in Brian Schottenheimer. And the thing is, right, if the Cowboys are worried about we traded a number one or a first round draft pick for a 28-year-old player, Maxx Crosby probably has 5 years left of playing at a high level. Dak Prescott probably has somewhere 5 to 7 years left of playing at a high level. The rest of their primes match up with each other. So, after Dak Prescott's done, then you rebuild, right? That's what you do there. And they could still re-sign George Pickens. And they could still add another piece to this defense through the draft. And they're still going to have a second round pick. Yes, the Cowboys need to make this move. Maxx Crosby's that type of player. Everything that Jerry Jones said Micah Parsons wasn't, is what Maxx Crosby is. He's a leader. You're going to have a leader on that side of the ball. Day one, he's going to come in and command respect. You want to know why he's going to command respect? Because he's one of the best defensive ends in football. He's one of the best defensive players in football. He's going to command respect because of who he is, the person he is, and the player that he is. Isn't that what Jerry Jones was complaining about when it came to Micah Parsons? I personally think that this is on the Raiders, right? Like, if a deal doesn't get done, I don't think it's because the Cowboys didn't want a deal done. Like, yeah, like if the Cowboys say, hey, we'll give you 4 first-round picks for him, yeah, they get a deal done, right? Like, obviously, you're not going to do that, though. Like, I don't think the Cowboys should price themselves to a different level to where it's like, we're giving you 2 first-round picks for him, because at the end of the day, he is 28 years old. You don't give up 2 first-round picks for a 28-year-old player unless he's a quarterback. I just don't believe that. But at that point, then you can tell people, hey, we won the Micah Parsons trade because we used one of the first-round picks that we got to bring in Maxx Crosby, a defensive end that all around is probably a better defensive end than Micah Parsons, and we're not paying him $40+ million a year. His contract is actually pretty manageable when you look at the cap hits. It's actually really, really manageable. They can fit that under the cap, and they can fit a George Pickens contract under the cap. And if they do that, if they add Maxx Crosby to this team, over the next 4 years, they're going to win a Super Bowl. That's just the way I feel. That's the way I feel about this team. Lamb still has plenty of years left. Dak still has plenty of years left. Pickens still has plenty of years left. They have a young offensive line that's continuing to develop and develop. They have a fantastic head coach, from what it looks like, in Brian Schottenheimer. They would have Maxx Crosby on defense, and they would be able to add to this defense. There's no way in the world that the first round pick that the Cowboys are going to use this year to draft a defensive player will be nearly as good as Maxx Crosby. It's not going to happen. You want to know why? Because there's not NFL players that have been doing this for years upon years upon years that are going to come close to Maxx Crosby, that were drafted in the first round, that are very good players. Because that's the type of player Maxx Crosby is. He is a difference maker. And the Cowboys have difference makers on the offensive side of the ball. They need a difference maker on the defensive side of the ball. And I promise you, when Maxx Crosby, if he gets traded to the Cowboys, their pass rush will be better as a whole. Not just because they added Maxx Crosby. Well, yeah, because they added Maxx Crosby. But because of what offensive lines or what offenses are going to do to, work around Maxx Crosby. Now they're not going to be able to pay so much attention to the interior. You're going to see Oso Digizua start to pop off because of the fact that there's a guy drawing so much attention. You're going to see Kenny Clark start to pop off. Donovan Ezeraku is a rookie that they really like that's playing at a high level. That has the potential to play at a really, really high level. I mean, not playing at a high level. Yeah, he's playing good football, but he's not playing at a super high level. But man, yes. Cowboys, make this move. Make this move. Because then, you're not giving up any picks in the 2027 draft, and you still have 2 first-round picks in that draft. You can add defensive players there. And not only that, you have a player to build around on your defense. You're going to be able to add a defensive player in the first and the second round this year. You can add them around Maxx Crosby. You're going to be able to add 3 defensive players in 2027's draft. To add around Maxx Crosby. If they make this move, they're winning a Super Bowl in the next 4 years. That's just what it's going to be. They're going to get young on defense. They're going to have a legit leader. They're going to have an explosive offense. Yes, Jerry has to make this move if it's available, but for the right price. A 1 is fair. Another 3 is fair. Another player, a young player, maybe not a guy like Donovan Ezeraku. That might be a little bit too much to give up. But another player, that's fair. Jerry, if you can make the move, make the move. This team is ready. This team is there when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. Defense, I just think they need a difference maker there. I think they need a difference maker on that side of the ball. And then I think you'll see the rest of the defense play better. I think they need direction. They need leadership. Man, you have Kenny Clark and Maxx Crosby in this locker room. Come on now. Make the deal, Jerry. You got to make this happen.